Woo! Woo! My shirt is so bright. It's just strap. I'm gonna have like a different kung fu thing I was gonna do, but this shirt is really the highlight of everything else. Let's just turn the brightness up. Just the shirt. Do I have the patience to cut out the shirt and do it? Maybe not. Fuck it. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. ChavezzSlovakia. 10 of the most terrifying places in the entire universe from all-time 10s. I love these type of videos, man. These videos are great. Things that I never will find out on my own. If someone else didn't tell me, I would never know. Yeah, a highly suggested video. Appreciate you guys for being here. The person who suggested this has been suggesting this video for days. It hasn't been that long. It basically just came out. It actually was out in July. Just kidding. They've been suggesting this video for a very long time. So let's get it, man.
10 most terrifying places in the universe.
In the whole universe, fam.
Number 10, Wasp 12b.
I think we've seen that.
Imagine a planet so dense that diamond is as abundant there as limestone is on Earth.
Before.
Well, approximately 4,000 light years away, deep in the Auriga constellation, is Wasp 12b, a planet where that is exactly the case. You'd better get in there quick though, because the planet is being literally devoured by its own sun. Wasp 12b orbits its star at a distance of only 3.4 million kilometers.
I don't know if that's
I know that sounds
far
like a lot, but it's less than 1/44 of the distance between the Earth and our sun. As a result, the planet is being ripped to shreds. Its surface temperature is over 2,200 degrees Celsius, and the colossal gravitational forces acting upon it have skewed it into an egg shape.
Ew.
At the moment, it's about 3 times the size of
much.
Jupiter, but it's losing 6 trillion kilograms of mass every single second. It's estimated that the planet may only have another 10 million years left before it's entirely consumed.
10 million.
Before the planet's discovery in April 2008, scientists had speculated that events like this could occur, but this is the first ever time it's actually been observed. Cool. Number 9. Supermassive electric current. You'd think supermassive black holes are terrifying enough, seeing as they're unexplorable space demons from which nothing can escape, not even light. But there's one in a galaxy about 2 billion light years away, which has a colossal magnetic field that's generating the highest known electric current in the universe.
Wow.
Thanks, nature. The galaxy in question is 3C303, and the current at its heart was discovered by scientists at the University of Toronto in 2011.
Say that 3
at
times
1
fast.
quintillion amps, which is 1 with 18 zeros, the current is the equivalent of 1 trillion bolts of lightning, or enough to power all of Earth's light bulbs for 12 billion years.
Goddamn.
It's thought that the current is being driven out into space as far as 150,000 light years away. Considering that the Milky Way galaxy has a radius of only 100,000 light years, that's pretty damn far. Number 8. The Perseus Cluster. Believe it or not, this image is not photoshopped. Nicknamed the Screaming Skull, it's an X-ray image of a galaxy cluster known as the Perseus Cluster, taken by the Chandra Observatory Telescope. The Perseus Cluster, which sits 320 million light years away, contains thousands of galaxies. But you can't actually see any of them here. Instead, what you're looking at is a 50 million degree cloud of intra-cluster gas. It's thought that the ghoulish form was created by a supermassive black hole at the cluster center, with the holes in the gas created by colossal explosions of energetic particles. Similarly spooky is the so-called ghost hand of God, a glowing green hand reaching through space to grab a red cloud of light. This eerie sight is actually a pulsar wind nebula, which was produced by the remnants of a star that exploded in a supernova millions of years ago. And then, for the Lord of the Rings fans out there, there's this infrared image that looks amazingly similar to the iconic Eye of Sauron. In actual fact, it's the star Fomalhaut, which is surrounded by a large ring of debris as planets form around it. Number 7. Extreme pumpkin stars. From skulls and zombie hands to another iconic Halloween symbol, these are extreme pumpkin stars. 18 of them were discovered by NASA's Kepler and Swift missions in 2016, in the constellations of Cygnus and Lyra, about 6,000 light years from Earth. Don't let their fairly whimsical name fool you. Extreme pumpkin stars are badass. They rotate at astronomical speeds, which is why they've ended up being squished into these quirky pumpkin shapes. These stars rotate in just a few days on average. That's scarily quick compared to our sun, which takes almost a month despite being much smaller. This dizzying rotation increases the regularity of unpredictable solar activities, like solar flares and sunspots, essentially sending the stars into overdrive and causing radio and magnetic disturbances millions of kilometers away. And then there's the X-rays of these bad boys.
I was about to say, I heard, because I looked some stuff up after I saw that the first time, and they were saying it makes it really hard to just observe even the space around those stars just because of those fields.
Each of the 18 pumpkin stars discovered produce X-rays at more than 100 times the peak level ever seen from our sun. One of the suns, KSW 71, is 10 times larger than our Sun and produces X-ray emissions that are over 4,000 times greater. Number 6. TRES-2b. This is TRES-2b, officially the darkest planet that NASA has ever discovered. It sits about 750 light-years away in the constellation of Draco, orbiting the catchily named star GSC 03549-02811, also known as Kepler-1 to its friends. It's a gas giant with a similar composition to Jupiter and orbits Kepler-1 at a relatively intimate 5 million kilometers. TRES-2b reflects less than 1% of all light that hits it, which is less than coal or black acrylic paint. Adding to its spookiness, it's actually a mystery as to why the planet is so damn dark. One potential explanation is that the gases that make up its surface, vaporized sodium, potassium, or gaseous titanium oxide, absorb all the light. Alternatively, it could be due to a lack of reflective clouds in its atmosphere, like those that make Jupiter so bright. And in case all-consuming, soul-destroying, inescapable darkness wasn't terrifying enough for you, this planet is also flipping boiling. It glows deep, deep red, and scientists believe its temperature could reach up to 1,100 degrees Celsius.
That's an old
Number 5. RxJ1347. Okay, so 1,100 degrees Celsius on TRES-2b is pretty damn hot, but that'd be a cool winter's day in comparison to the temperatures in our next terrifying place. RxJ1347, a gas cloud in the constellation of Virgo some 5 billion light-years away, is the hottest known place in the whole universe. Temperatures regularly reach a simply unfathomable 300 million degrees, which is 20 times hotter than the center of the sun. The cloud surrounds a cluster of galaxies that's approximately 5 million light-years wide. So it's not like it's a tiny astronomical blip, it's a ginormous searing mass.
So for me, it's just like, whenever I think of heat, I automatically either think of like a heater or like fire, you know what I mean? Or like the sun, I just think of like a ball of fire. Okay, carbon dioxide is what is flame, is what fire is. Carbon dioxide, water vapor, oxygen, and nitrogen. So it's like some of the same stuff, but it has a lot of hydrogen. It's like mostly hydrogen and helium and then carbon. So it's just weird for me, because when I think of like flames and stuff like that, I think of, you know, that's just how I think of that. You know, so when it says something's hot, like a hot ball of gas in the universe, it just seems like it's like a flaming gas ball, but it's not really. It's not necessarily that.
It's thought that this celestial hot flush was caused by 2 galaxy swarms colliding together at ridiculous speeds, probably over 4,000 kilometers a second. According to Assistant Professor Naomi Ota of the Tokyo University of Science, if that were the case, it would constitute the most violently energetic celestial event since the Big Bang itself.
Wow, that's actually kind of cool.
Number 4, the Boomerang Nebula. From one extreme to another, this is the Boomerang Nebula, aka the coldest known place in the universe. The nebula is a huge cloud of gas being expelled from a dying star in the constellation Centaurus. Astronomers have found that the temperatures could drop as low as half a degree above absolute zero. If a human were exposed to temperatures this cold, their blood would freeze, all the atoms in their body would stop moving, and all the body's processes would cease. So maybe it's not a great idea to choose the Boomerang Nebula for your next vacation then. Despite being totally frigid and inhospitable, the nebula is actually one of the most valuable locations for astronomical research. That's because it's not yet a fully fledged planetary nebula, as its central star hasn't ionized its surroundings. In simpler terms, it's still a dying star, not a dead one. This specific stage in the star's life cycle tends to last only about 1,000 years, which, in the grand scheme of things, is just a tiny blink in cosmic time. We are therefore incredibly lucky to witness an event like this in our lifetime, as it could reveal answers to complicated questions about the life and death of stars.
But how long we have to wait till we get there?
Number 3, you know? Zombie stars.
Zombie stars.
Normally when a star dies, it explodes in a massive supernova, and then that's it.
Kaput.
Dead. But in some very rare cases, there is a way they can be revived from their astronomical grave. They can become zombie stars. Let's backtrack a bit. During the final stage of a star's life, they become a white dwarf.
Yeah, we know that.
This is when all of a star's nuclear energy has been used up, and they just cool and fade into nothingness over several billion years.
Right.
However, on some occasions, these dying stars can steal energy from younger neighbouring stars. In fact, they've been known to gobble up enough fuel from a neighbouring star that it triggers an extraordinary nuclear explosion. This can be powerful enough to revive the dying star, like a zombie surviving through eating the brains of the living. Officially known as a Type 1a supernova, these zombie stars are not just freaky, they're super useful. Because they're so bright and consistent in that brightness, They're really handy for figuring distances in the universe. This means that scientists can track the expansion of the universe, furthering our understanding of how gravity and dark energy counteract.
Oh, we should definitely do one on the expansion of the universe, like what size the universe is, because those are super interesting.
Number
I'm
2,
not distracted.
wandering black holes. As I mentioned back in number 9, black holes are pretty terrifying as it is.
Yeah.
It's thought that our galaxy alone contains 100 million black holes, and they remain one of the most mysterious phenomena in the universe.
And that one video we watched talked about how black holes, there's like, you know, all the different theories with black holes. One of them could be a way of almost like the hard drive of the universe. Remember, it was saying like stuff that gets sucked in can be stored on the surface since they're so, you know, impossibly dense. It could be taking something that's 3D and almost like downloading it into like a 2D space almost. Like, that was fucking nuts.
At least they're all super far away and happy gobbling up planets and space dust in their own little corner of the universe, right? Wrong. There exists a special, horrifying kind of black hole that moves around space, consuming anything and everything in their path. They're known imaginatively as wandering black holes, and have been discovered travelling as fast as 5 million kilometers per hour.
That's just terrifying.
We don't really know for certain what causes a black hole to go rogue like this. One hypothesis is that they are knocked off course by the collision of multiple galaxies and are simply sent flying. At least we're definitely safe here on Earth though, right? Wrong
Don't
again.
you say that.
A wandering black hole has in fact been discovered within our very own Milky Way. There's no immediate danger as it's currently about 10,000 light years away, but who knows where it could end up within the next few millennia.
I mean, with that amount of time though, honestly, like there's so much space in the universe, even the chance of it hitting us is so small.
Number 1, the Great Attractor. Deep in the far reaches of the cosmos sits what can only be described as an astronomical nightmare, the Great Attractor. The Great Attractor was first theorized in the 1970s, when astronomers realized that the Milky Way was slightly warmer on one side than the other, and that it was moving through space at the surprisingly speedy speed of 600 kilometers a second.
Speed.
Conclusion? Over billions of years, something is slowly but surely pulling us and everything near us closer to itself. And there's no escape. The only force that can act so powerfully over such great distances, and on whole galaxies at a time, is gravity. This means there must be something huge out there that's exerting an unrelenting gravitational pull. One major problem with our understanding of the Great Attractor is that it lays within the so-called zone of avoidance. This is an area of space that sits beyond the Milky Way in the direction of the constellation Centaurus. The zone of avoidance is completely obscured because of all the space junk, stars, gas and dust that's cluttering up our own galaxy. We therefore have no way of seeing what could be causing this massive gravitational anomaly.
Wow.
Could it be a ginormous black hole, a red supergiant, or maybe something that has never been discovered before? So that was the 10 most terrifying
though. I think there's so much that we don't know about the world around us, especially because we just use like telescopes and radar and scanning to figure a lot of that stuff out. I feel like personally it's just so limiting. Even though when I took my astronomy class, my professor at the time was writing actually about black holes. He was writing his, for his doctorate, he was writing about black holes. And he said that there's so much that math can tell you about what happens around us. Those limitations aren't as relevant because you can measure your unknowns at least with a statistical value or a number value or like X or Y and adjust for it, right? So for it being things that we don't see or know, it's really hard for that to exist because of theories like gravity that are such well established. You can always use that to kind of measure time and space and things like that. So yeah, so like, you know, I use gravity as an example just because we can't see it, but we know it's there, and we know it's there through math, right? It's formed through a math proof. So he said because of that, even if you can't see exactly what it is or exactly what it looks like, you can always know what's there. But I still think that one advancement in travel, you know, if there's some way to get something out there to actually be able to see it, it'll change like a ton about what we think about the universe. So but that's so fascinating to me though. I'll see y'all in the next one, man. Peace.